officer. I work with Apex Home Loans. Apex does a lot of business with specifically this Keller Williams location. A little bit about me. I got into the mortgage business back in 2004, so I've been around for a while. I was in the business when we used to give away money to anybody and everybody with no reasoning behind it. You know, and unfortunately I was there when everything crumbled afterwards, you know, and that actually, so at Montgomery College, and I worked really hard, and then I ended up getting accepted at University of Maryland's Business School in College Park, and I got a dual degree in supply chain management and finance. You might not know what supply chain management is. I didn't when I went there, but it's really cool. It basically is from start to end of a complete business. So if you think of Apple, from them finding somebody to make the plastic, to make the case of a phone, from every little part at all the companies all around the country that do that for them, and bringing them in, the transportation, the manufacturing, then getting them out to the stores, everything you can think of, it includes all of that. So it's understanding how the entire business works. Then of course I did finance, because finance was my thing. I actually was in accounting originally, and I thought I was going to become an accountant because I was like, that's a safe job after losing everything in real estate when I did. But my brother was like, you're not going to be an accountant. You hate that kind of stuff. And he was right. I hated my homework. So I thought this was pretty cool. I was in what's called a fellowship there for what's called money and banking. The reason why I think it was really cool is I got to actually personally interview Janet Yellen. I don't know if you guys know who she is. She's currently the United States Secretary of the Treasury. Before that, she was the first woman to be the chair of the Federal Reserve.
And what did you do with that?
Oh, I actually got to interview her, one-on-one, and I got to sit at the Board of Governors, which was really awesome, very intimidating. But yeah, it was really cool. Now here's something that's really important I want to talk about. So after college, when I graduated, I was recruited to DHL in a big management program. DHL, believe it or not, people don't know this in the US, is the biggest transportation company in the world, much bigger than FedEx and UPS. Those two, FedEx and UPS, are the big in the US, but not globally. DHL is much bigger. And I was in a big management program. Now, when I got to DHL, they were really big into something called Lean Six Sigma. So I decided, it sounded interesting. It was all about problem solving, which I love. So I decided to get into Lean Six Sigma. So what Lean Six Sigma means is it's actually two concepts. One is lean, and lean has to do with productivity, you know, looking for ways, getting faster at things, more efficient, right? Six Sigma is about increasing results. Whatever kind of thing you're doing, how do you continuously improve and get the best possible results there are? Any large company is Six Sigma. And if they're not, they will get destroyed by the competition. So all the United States government, Amazon, completely Six Sigma, Apple, anybody you could think of, all big giant banks are Six Sigma. Anyway, so I got into it. There's 4 levels that you can get. The top one being a black belt master. I have a black belt master. So it took me 3 years of grueling studying to do that, but I got it. I love it. I use it all the time. Now, once I got that, I started developing programs and processes for DHL that are used all over the world to this day. But I never wanted to leave real estate. So this gave me the courage and from my wife's support to go back and actually give it another shot. So I was like, you know, if I took all this knowledge from Six Sigma and went back into real estate, it would be a game changer. I've been back for 3 years, and let me tell you, I'm already the top producer in one of the biggest companies in Maryland, and I did it in a very short period of time. This year, I probably do 35 million in transactions.
Real estate transaction?
Yeah.
And you're Real estate, you sell real estate?
No, no, no.
Oh,
Loan
no,
officer.
okay.
Yep, a little different.
Okay. I thought you were doing both. I was like, wait a minute, hold on.
No, I don't do the real estate. No, I'll leave that to you guys. So here's the big thing, right? So the subject today, how to work smarter, not harder. So what does this mean, right? How to how to do processes to get better results in less time. And when you think about what I was talking about with Six Sigma, how to be more productive and get better results. So it's the same exact thing. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not going to go completely Six Sigma on you guys and start talking about statistics and all that. No, I'm not doing that. But I'm going to teach you some really cool stuff. And let me tell you, so one big thing I tell you, out of everything I'm going to teach you here, one thing, important concept to know is that I can teach you skills, but, and I'm not saying to be tough on you, but if you don't go and actually apply these to your business, it's not going to do anything, right? You know, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't apply it, it doesn't do anything. It's all about execution. And I promise you, if you do some of these things, and I'll point out a couple, there's two things specifically if you do. If you come back to me, even in a month, and you do it every day, you're going to thank me and be like, I've increased everything that I've done at least 100%. And I'll bet you money on it. But you have to actually do it. Okay, so where do we start, right? Well, we got to start with goal setting, right? Because how are you going to know what you need to do for your business if you don't know where it is you're headed and what you're trying to achieve? So you need to set your goals, right? It's very important to not just do 1 year out. You actually want to do long term. So the shortest you want to do is 5 years. You can do more than 5 years, but it's important to do at least 5 years out.
To the middle.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
So it's important to do at least 5 years out, right? Now, this is going to sound funny. Make your goals unrealistic, right? And I actually got feedback from my marketing department, helped spruce my PowerPoint up, you know, and they were like, what do you mean by unrealistic? That doesn't sound right. Well, it actually, and this hit home to me recently. So what it means is that if you set realistic goals for yourself, well, you're going to probably hit them, but where's the motivation to do more, right? So if you just set like, oh, my first year, I want to make, you know, $80,000. Well, what happens when you've already made $60,000 in 3 months? You know, what are you striving for? What's pushing you? So a lot of times in bold, I think they tell you to double them, right? Mm-hmm. So you think 100,000, say 200,000, you know, challenge yourself. And you'd be surprised because you know what, you might just hit them. And I've seen it happen. I did it. I doubled my thing and actually hit it 1 year. So it's like, it can happen. So I like these two phrases, and I think they're hilarious. I've learned them over the years in business school. You're either working towards your goals or you're working on somebody else's goals. And that's very important because if you're not actually going after your goals, whose goals are you going after? Right? So that's something really, listen to that. That's important. That'll change your life, even if it's goals for yourself personally. You know, the next one, people who don't write down their goals work for people that do. That's another really interesting thing. Let me tell you, they've done studies, Harvard Business School did studies, and they said top 3% wealthiest people in the world all write down goals. Everybody else, they work for them. You know what I mean? And that's because if you want to achieve something, you need to have a goal for it and write down. And it's not enough just to write down what your goal is. You need to have an action plan. How am I going to get there? What steps do I need to take to achieve my goals, right? So you have to create a plan. And your plan needs to be future focused, right? And so that's why I was saying that 5-year goal plan, because you should really be saying, in my first year, this is how many prospects I'm going to have. This is how many transactions I'm going to settle on. This is going to be the average price point, for listing or for the sale, right? And you want to hit those, and then you want to say, well, year 2 is going to be this amount. Year 3 is going to be this amount. And even put how many prospects are you going to have? How many prospects are you going to talk to? And then we want to break it down by month too. So, okay, if I need to close 30 transactions this year at 300,000, well, what is that per month? How many people do I need to talk to? If I say I need to talk to this many people per month, how many people is that per week? How many people is that per day? And if you talk to that many people a day, that you did a good job. Like, you know what I mean? You're on your way. And you can always surpass that. I say I'm going to talk to 3 people a day. You end up talking to 5. great. Now you can go even further, right? So you want to complete like the steps to complete, you know, what you need to get there. You know, like what kind of marketing things are you doing, so on and so forth. And when you lay out all the different steps that you come up with, then you want to put them in order. What do I need to do first, second, third? You know, because you don't want to do them out of place, right? Another big thing is what skills do you need to accomplish them? I could tell you for anybody who's brand new, one thing, you might not have this problem, some people did. I did when I first got into business, is confidence. Confidence can be a big one, right? Because when you very first start, you don't really know what you're doing. It's very overwhelming. There's a whole lot that goes into this. People are asking you all these questions. You know some you don't know. You got to go call somebody. You know, trust me, I've been there. I remember one time when I first got into business, real estate agent asked me to calculate what the monthly taxes were, and I had no idea how to. I had to leave the thing, call my boss, and say, "How do I do this?" Like, it was like, "Dude, you just divide by 12." And I was like, "Oh, I'm the dumbest person in the world." Nobody had asked me that before, so that's how bad it was. I know how to do it now, by the way. But you know, that kind of thing, knowledge, you know, like let's say one of the things I'm gonna talk about more about, like real estate investors, right? Well, if you want to start targeting real estate investors, what do you know about real estate investing? You know, how are you going to work with real estate investors and not know how to invest in real estate? You know, so go find that information. And then, you know, so that way you know, and you're going to come off professional, you know. So knowing the skills you need to make happen what you need. If you're scared of public speaking, almost everybody in the world is, start public speaking. It's horrible. The more you do it, it gets easier and easier and easier. I tell you, 7 years ago, if you saw me and I was up here right now, I would be sweating. You'd be like, "Oh my God, I think this guy's about to have a heart attack." I've done it enough now that I'm not that bad. You know, went out. Did I do something?
No, there you go.
Okay. Oh, big tip. Hopefully you've heard this before, but find out the most successful people in your office, your industry, so on, find out what they do. If you do what other successful people do, you will be successful. It's that simple. Find out what they do and do it. You know what I mean? It really works. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. It will help you on your learning curve, you know, because your learning curve, if you're just going out there and coming up with ideas on your own, some things are going to work, right? Some things are going to not work, you know, and it's going to be a lot of trial and error. It's going to take a little longer. And I'm not saying not do that, but also go talk to people that are successful, see what they're doing, and try some of the things that they're doing too, you know. So to take away some of that heartache and growing pains, you know. So that's it. Another thing, deadlines and rewards. So big thing on deadlines, and we're going to talk a lot more about this later, but it's all about accountability, right? And let me tell you, I know some of you are newer in this business. I've been in the business a long time, and it goes the same for loan officers as it does for real estate agents and insurance people, right? The people that make it in this business hold themselves accountable and can do that. Some people just can't do it, you know? And, you know, when you have a regular job, you have a boss, they hold you accountable. If you don't do what they say and you have clear instructions on what your duties are, then you're fine. If you don't do them, you're fired. But they hold you accountable for it. When you're self-employed, basically like a real estate agent, nobody's telling you that. Nobody's giving you the step-by-step. I mean, they're going to give you like, hey, you should try this, this, and this. But they're not going to, you know, come at you and say, you're going to be fired if you don't do this, this, and this. This is the time you're going to get up. You do this for 10, you know what I mean? You don't do that. And a lot of people can't handle that. They need somebody to actually push them because that was like what there was ingrained into them. So it's hard, you know, but if you can learn it, and if you have problems with it, you know, one of the best things, and people that are even successful, super successful, still do this, is you can get accountability coach. And it could just be people in this room pairing up together. It's like, hey, you want to hold each other accountable? We meet once a week. This is what I'm trying to do. They tell you what you're trying to do. Write it down. A week later, what did you do? Did you hit them? Did you not hit them? And when you know that you got to get in front of somebody and, you know, say, I told you I was going to do this, and I didn't do it. I mean, you know, it doesn't feel good. So you're more inclined to do it, and it will help push you. And maybe after a while of doing it, it gets, you might not need it anymore. But I tell you, like my CEO does 60 transactions a month, makes millions on top of millions of dollars a year. He has a coach, Tom Brady has a coach. Tom Brady, one of the best quarterbacks, whether you hate him or love him, still has a coach, and they coach him.
Gary Keller, he's a multi-billionaire. He has 3 coaches.
3 coaches. So don't think that by having a coach, it makes you less. It actually makes you more, What else? Settling deadlines for yourself is good. I'm going to talk about here in a minute about Outlook. Setting, blocking out time is a very good thing. It actually helps me because I get in trouble with that. And reward yourself. That's a huge thing. We as human beings, and this is everybody, whether they believe it or not, we work off of incentives. The only reason why any of us are here is because we want to make money, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you might not enjoy this and enjoy helping people, but at the end of the day, we do need money to survive. If we didn't, maybe we would just be out, at the beach all day or whatever, right? What?
On the boat.
On the boat, you know what I mean? Something, hanging out with your dog, So we work off incentives, so create incentives for yourself. They can be little small things. I get everything done in the week. I'm going to go to the restaurant I like at the end of the week, stuff like that. If I hit my goals for the year, I'm going to Jamaica for a week. It's already done, right? See, I'm going to do that too. So I'm with you, right? Stuff like that, hey, something you really wanted. Yeah, I'm dying for that new car. If I hit that goal I'm getting, I'm buying that car. If I don't, can't get the car, and trust me, I'll push you, hey. So it's good to have that, right? Next thing, and a lot of everything I'm going to be talking about is going to be about self-reflection. Self-reflection is the most important thing, right? Because you really need, and you need to be tough on yourself and honest with yourself, because lying to yourself is not going to help, right? And I'm not saying be mean to yourself, but it's not about that. It's about being honest with yourself, saying, am I doing what I should be doing for this, or so on? And if you're not, well, how can I change that? Is there things I'm really doing well? And it's not about beating yourself up. It's also, what am I doing that's really working? That's reflecting, like, what really working? How do I do more of that? So what I'm saying here, when, where, how are you the most productive? And this is going to be different for everybody, but really think about it. Are you more productive at home or at the office? And it can change, but it's really important for you to think, because if you're more productive at home, you should be working from home a lot, when you're doing your admin stuff. If you're more productive at the office because things at home are distracting you, you need to get out of the home and to the office. What time of day? I'm much more productive in the morning. My wife is more productive at night. Drives me crazy. When, where, and who distracts you? If you're at the office and you have friends there, are they constantly distracting you? And then they're taking you away to talk about, this fun stuff, but you're not working? Well, that's not good. Is it work time or is it play time? You know what I mean? You're not getting paid money.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I didn't even turn and look.
You didn't have to.
There can be good distractions, collaborating together, right? You get together with a couple people at work and collaborate together on how we can, all do things to grow our business. Highly recommend it. 2 minds are better than 1, 3 are better than 2, 5 are better than 3. Collaboration is fantastic. What motivates you? Who motivates you? And what I'm saying here, you can take this in so many different ways. Just think about it. But like, what motivates you? Like when you think about your business, what things do I really like doing? What tasks do I really like doing in my job? What kind of marketing do I really like doing in my job? The more you like something, the better you're going to be at it. Right. Find things you enjoy. Then also, who motivates you? What clients do you love? What clients do you hate? You know what I mean? Right? If there's clients, if you're working with clients consistently that you don't really like as people, they probably don't really like you either, honestly. And it's not that they hate you, but are they gonna I'm gonna invite you to my kid's birthday party? No, probably not. But people that you enjoy working with, they probably really enjoy working with you too. And one of the, actually, a nice trick I added, heard in a conference I was in a while back, when you have those people, one of the best ways to ask for referrals at the end of the thing, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed working with you. Would you mind introducing me to other people like you? Because it's been such a pleasure working with you. You know, that introduce me to people that are like you, that you know. And you know what? They enjoy working with you. You're being genuine. You're not being fake. They can tell that you like working with them. And that's a great way to ask for referrals. Let me tell you. And if they, I wouldn't do it maybe on the other end. You really did not like them? Right. Oh, give me some referrals. You could try. But you also don't want that. Do you want to constantly work with people you don't like, or do you want to work with people you do like? You know? This next part has to do really with, you know, just physical, your body and so on, right? Really think about, and the older we get, you know, the more we know this, right? Is certain foods and beverages give us more or less energy. I know if I eat pasta during the day, I'm gonna be a zombie, I'm gonna take a nap. You know, I'm not gonna get anything done. You know, if I eat something healthy and keep the carbs down, or at least, you know, complex carbs or whatever you wanna say, I'm good, you know? Do you exercise? You know, exercise can, one, make you healthier. Two, it can give you more energy. And it actually gets your mind in a better space. So if you can exercise even a little bit in the morning, right?
Yeah, for me, I can be a little all over the place in a sense, so it helps me focus.
Yeah, meditation too. Oh my
Yes.
God, meditation is probably the biggest thing that I do that, like, oh my God, it does the world. If you are, once you start getting like super slammed, or if you're already slammed and your mind is bouncing all over the place and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do next, go meditate for 15 minutes. I bet you come back and your whole mind is clear and you know exactly what to do now. And that's the funny thing. It's like, oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have another 15 minutes. I'm slammed. I'm going crazy. Let me tell you, you do that 15 minutes, you're going to come back and get everything done in half the time it would, because your mind's not going crazy anymore. You know, so sometimes you'd be surprised. And then the last thing, of course, is sleep. You know, the last time I was at the doctor, I had a physical for my insurance. You know, they really stress the sleep part, and I've heard this before, and they're like, they're finding now that sleep is more important than nutrition and exercise, because that's how your body regenerates. And if you don't think like, oh, my life's so busy, I'm just going to cut back and do 4 hours a night of sleep, yeah, you're probably going to do more harm than good. You know what I mean? And your health probably won't be the best later on. Okay, so one of the biggest things I'm going to talk about. So there's two really huge things that I'm going to tell you that will get the biggest impact on your business. The first one is lists. And this is not a list that everybody talks about where you're just going to take a list and write down what things you need to do throughout the day and then that's that. No, this is not what I'm talking about. What it is you're going to make a list every day. You could do it the night beforehand. Some people like that. I do it first thing in the morning. And you're going to write down all the tasks that you know you need to get done that day. And then you're going to rank them on two things: urgency. Urgency and importance, right? And a lot of people struggle with importancy, right? So importancy is what is going to have the biggest impact on you achieving your goals. And especially since we're all commissioned, what is going to make you the most money? Is this task making you money, or is it not making you money? You know, and then the thing about urgency and importancy is most times things that are really urgent aren't that important. The things that are really, really important aren't very urgent. And so what happens? We put off the really important things and we just do the urgent things. And guess what? We push away those important things all the time, like marketing, you know, because you're like, oh no, I got to work on this deal and I got to go do this deal and I got this phone call and this email, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, you didn't do any of your marketing for the last 2 weeks and you wonder why you don't have any deals in the pipeline, because you just focus on it. And let me tell you, I've been in the business a very long time. People love getting in this glut. Fill up your pipeline, then you close it out, you have nothing. And you got to fill it up, you close it out, and you got nothing. You know why? It's because they weren't marketing during that time. You need to keep the funnel full, right? So another thing that you could do that somebody taught me recently, I like, when you're writing down your tasks, you could even put a little dollar sign next to them. Is this making me money? If it's really making me money, put $2 signs next to it, you know? Because like that jump out at me. I mean, I see dollar signs, I'm like, shoot, let me make sure I do this one right. Let's see, what else I got here? Here goes. And I said all of them, right? So next thing, now this is kind of, this is very important. It's going to become even more important as you grow. The reason why people have teams is 100% this. This is what reason why you'll see everybody has teams. It's about delegation, right? You need to find out your hourly rate. We're going to do this later. We're going to do a bunch of exercises later on. The big thing, I'm going to teach you these concepts, and then we're going to do them together afterwards, right? So what is your hourly rate? So what you're going to do later is we're going to say how much money you want to make in a year. How many hours are you legitimately going to work, right? So it's 40 hours a week. We times that by 52. You're going to make 100,000 that year. We're going to divide 100,000 by that, and that's your hourly rate, right? If as things go by and you get, too busy to take on more business, you find things that are less than your hourly rate that you could pay somebody to do, and you delegate and you pay them to do it. Because a $20 an hour task and you're making $80 an hour, you need to be doing more $80 an hour tasks and not $20 an hour tasks. So, and that could be picking up the kids, mowing the lawn. One thing I get in trouble with, I get cheap and I'm like, I could just paint it myself instead of calling a painter, you know what I mean? But really, am I making money or losing money by doing that, That's an issue I have. But yeah, so, delegate low value tasks, spend more time on high value tasks, being in front of clients, showing them things, networking, whatever it is that you're doing to get business, that's the high value tasks, That's why a lot of people do the, what do you call the people that do all your paperwork and follow
The
up?
transaction coordinator.
Transaction coordinators. That's what it is. You're delegating the admin stuff that you could easily have somebody else who frees up time for you, right? So that's the big thing. So in the end, it's like delegate things that aren't important to you of becoming successful and they aren't urgent. You need to eliminate it altogether because obviously it doesn't even need to be on there. Then you want to put your tasks in order. So you want to do the most important thing that you identified by doing urgent and important, because something extremely urgent and extremely important, obviously got to do that first. And then you just go down the line and you list what you're going to do first, second, third, fourth throughout the day, right? And then next, get started. Get started right away, right? This is an interesting concept. I don't know if you all ever heard about it, but there's a difference between rock time versus sand time. So this is kind of interesting. A college professor did this with his students, and it was pretty wild. So what he did was he took a jar and he filled it up with those big rocks right there, the really big ones. The pointer won't show it, but so the really big rocks on top, filled those rocks in. Then there were smaller pellets. So he fills up the thing completely with these big rocks and he asks everybody, is this full? And it's filled to the top. And everybody's like, yes, it's full. Then he takes these smaller pellets, puts it on top and shakes it all up. And they kind of get into the cracks of it. And he goes back and says, is this full? And everybody kind of laughs because they're like, oh, I just said the last one was full. Okay, I got your point, it's full. Then he takes a bag of sand, dumps it on top, shakes it up, and he fills it all the way up to where it would look like that, right? And then he says again, okay, now this is full. This is actually full now, right? And so what it symbolizes is the jar is how many hours in the day that you have to work, right? The big giant rocks are the really important things that you need to do. The small pebbles are the the less important, semi-important, like maybe something that you could do later on, but important, but they don't have to be done right away in front of you. Then the sand is all that stuff you don't need to do. That is just, watching more TV, playing on Facebook and not in marketing purposes, shopping online while you're at work, whatever it may be, right? So, but here's the interesting thing. So what he did after that is he took the sand, all the stuff that you don't really need to do, filled it in the jar. Then he took the small pebbles, put it on top of that. Then he took the big rocks, put it on top of that. Could he get it all done? No. And what suffered? The really important things. So you think about that, right?
Yep.
And that's what happens to us all. We focus in too much at times on, you know, the important, but the urgent but not important, and then also the ways stuff. And then because of it, we run out of time and we can never get to those really important things that are really going to boost your career, you know? And so I thought this was a really cool example of all that. So this is true. I used to never be like this, and I found out it's actually very right, is concentrate on one task at a time, no matter what. Do not multitask. Because multitasking, it's less productive, it's proven. And when you think about it, when you're trying to do two different tasks, what happens is you're working on a task and you're engaged in it, you're concentrating, you're doing something, and then if you switch to another task, now you have to refocus, start working on that task and doing so on. And then if you go back to that other task, now you have to completely refocus, get used to what you're doing instead of actually just building momentum and doing and getting it done and then moving to the next thing. And then guess what else happens a lot of times, especially those really important ones, you're gonna get caught up with these other tasks because you're multitasking, and then you're gonna stop working on it and you didn't even get back to it at all, right?
So I just wanted to say something about that, because that's definitely something, again, with that all over the place feeling, it's like, let's do something with the laundry. Oh, wait, let's run to the dishes. Oh, let's, you know, in that sense,
Yeah.
right? The Pomodoro technique or method or whatever, has anyone heard of it? It's like taking a timer and setting it for 25 minutes,
Yeah,
and you're just focused on that one task, and then you give yourself the 5-minute break of like, you know, relax or whatever. Or you can do 50 minutes and then give yourself a 10-minute break. But for some people, if you're a little all over the place, it helps to have that timer on that specific task.
Yeah.
So then you know, I'm in this zone until that thing rings.
Right.
that actually does one other thing too. Have you ever, when you're in school, college, whatever, and you know you got to cram last minute for an exam, you actually, when you know that you have a very short period of time to do something, and you know you just have to get it done, you find a way.
To make it happen.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
if you give yourself 3 hours to get a job, it's gonna take 3 hours. If you gave yourself an hour to that same task, probably, you might be able to pull it off in that 1 hour. So you're just that much more productive. And that's
All
actually,
work spans to fill the time allowed.
Yep.
Yeah.
exactly. And that's a great thing. Timer, you know, also what I was saying about, I'll talk about it, I think, in the next slide, but putting in your Outlook, like if you use your calendar, set that time and you say, hey, me working on my database once a week, I'm doing it at 9 a.m. from 9 to 10, and I'm only giving myself an hour, but I'm doing it every Friday from 9 to 10. Like those are my database hours, you know? And you could have the alarm. I like the alarm. Actually, I think that might help me next. I'd be one of those people. Yeah.
And not only does it like make you less productive, I'm like looking at the slide, I'm like, oh God, it makes me tired when I'm multitasking. But by the end of the day, I'm just drained because I've been doing 2 or 3 things at one time.
Exactly.
And so I do recall a colleague of mine that said, just to have a little post-it note next to me, because clearly I have 3.2 million thoughts a day. So while I'm working on something, just put it on the post-it note, so when I get to my 5 to 10 minutes, then I know what I have to do, so I don't have to interrupt my train of thought.
Yep.
Exactly. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. I also do that for when there's certain things like keeping on task, like don't do it, post-it note, put it right on your monitor, like don't break tasks, finish your task, like don't let yourself get distracted, you know, or something. It's easier said than done, but the more we work on it, the more, you know,
Right.
that we get to, you know, improve. And that's the big thing. Don't let yourself get distracted and interrupted. And that goes back to what I was talking in that other slide. Really think about what situations you get distracted more than others, you know? What times can you focus more? And if there are times you focus better, do more of that. You know, it's really that simple. Now, I know it's hard because you have to reorganize your life, but it'll pay off by doing it. This is huge, and it's called batching tasks. So this is a way you can really save a lot of time. Now, one thing we're probably, and bless you if you don't have this problem, I have this problem, but emails and texts and stuff like that. right? Every time you get an email, you're like, oh, it's my client, I gotta get that email, blah, blah, blah. So you stop what you're doing, you go to your email, you answer your email, right? Then you go back. It's that same thing about not doing one thing at a time. So every time you break concentration from what you're doing, go to the email, now you have to see what they're talking about, refocus, absorb what they're asking, answer it, then you go back to what you're doing. It's very unproductive. And now the other thing is, what really successful people do is they'll set times where they answer their emails. It'll be like first thing in the morning, middle of the day, end of the day, right? But you do it back to back. So you'll answer, if you have 15 emails overnight, do 15 emails, one, back to back. Each email you do after the other, you're going to get faster and faster because you build momentum. So you'll actually be able to answer 15 emails much faster than you could if you did it throughout the day because you're building momentum. And the same thing people do with phone calls. Now phone calls, I mean, in our industry, it can be tough, right? But to strive for this is a good thing. The more you can strive to do more at once, the better it will be for you. Let's see. And it will cut down dramatically, on it. One concept I want to talk about, now both of these are important, right? Productivity and efficiency. But what is thing that you have to remember is, so effectiveness is doing things that are moving you towards your goals, right? And doing it well, right? Being efficient means that you're doing things quickly without waste, right? But just because you're doing something efficient doesn't mean that it is effective, right? If you're doing some kind of marketing that's really not getting you business, but you became really efficient at doing it, does it matter that you're efficient at it? It's not giving you the results.
Right.
So who cares if you're efficient at it? Now, if you've had something that you're really getting you lots of results and you work on getting even more efficient at it, that's great. But just remember, effectiveness is what's important, the most important. Efficiency, is a benefit, but it's definitely not above being effective, And like I said, they're not mutually exclusive, so you can have both, and that's optimal. You can be both, that's great. And basically, if you're efficient at something that isn't effective, should you be doing it at all, or should you be getting rid of it? Here's a cool quote: "Productivity is not always about being busy. To be productive, you must be doing the exact thing you should be doing with your time." So that's not, and that's basically doing the things that are effective, right?
Oh, shoot. Can you turn that back one more time?
Oh,
Turn that back.
and I definitely am gonna send you the.
Okay, thank you.
So this next one, right? This is probably the list thing that I showed you about organizing it. That's going to be a game changer. Let me tell you, it's going to be a game changer. Right? I got her into it. And they all like, oh my God. 2 days in, they're like, this changed our lives. And it does for me too. Sometimes I will tell you that sometimes you might get off of it because you get really busy. But let me tell you, as soon as you go back, you're like, oh my God, why did I stop doing this? Because it really makes a difference. 80-20 principle. This is, if you can understand this, and I really want you guys to understand this. So if you don't understand how this works while we're talking about this, please ask me questions, because I really want you to understand this. This is 100% proven in any part of your life. It doesn't have to do, it could business, anything. But what it is that 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. The other 20%, that last 20% of your results, come from 80% of your effort, right? So there's a lot of ways to look at this, right? And basically what it's saying is that there's certain things out there that are going to be a lot more productive than other things out there, So think of it this way. If you went out and got a client that's a real estate investor, right? And, so you have a real estate investor, and then you went and got another client, took the same amount of time, and they are a first-time home buyer, right? First-time home buyer, maybe you get to do a transaction for them once every 5 years if you're lucky, maybe quicker, maybe they just want to, whatever. But if you get a good real estate investor, which I've worked with for 15 years, they might be buying a house from you once a month. And so sometimes, if they're flipping, they're going to be giving you listings and purchases every month, So see that 80-20 rule that I'm talking about? And it's also different things, like even marketing. Like let's say when I know a lot of agents love going to open houses, like doing, even if it's not your open house, you do open house, right? Because you get all the walk-in leads, right? So how many leads do you get from that in a certain amount of time? And then how many leads do you get from going door knocking, right? You know, if you go out and door knocking, knock on doors, so on and so forth. Now maybe door knocking is better, but if one is giving you 5 times more the leads in the same amount of time, that's 80-20%. You should be focusing, trying to find more things that give you 80% results rather than the 20% results. You know, and that's what this is all about. And it really, when you go back and look at where you get your business, you're going to find this. You're going to find certain things going to give you all your business. The other things, it just takes so much time to do. It gets you business, but it's not nearly those other things. You know, another good way of looking at it is talking to a first-time home buyer one-on-one, you know, brand new. You have that one option, or having a home buyer seminar with first-time home buyers and you have 15 people there. Which one's more productive? It's the 80-20. There's different ways that you can look at things to become a lot more productive and get a lot more time out of it by doing things different. And this can go with like your things that your processes. You might be able to find that there's certain things in your process that get your clients through 80% of the transaction with little effort, but then it's those last couple things that you're doing takes so much time. You know what I mean? Like the loan process. You know? But anyway, so you know, it's important to think, and really, I'm telling you, if you think all the time, you're like, man, I want to get more of these really productive things that really bring the results. You know, it's going to do the world a difference for you. Here's something that a lot of people struggle on, and it's very easy to get caught into this, is working in your business, not on your business. You know, huge difference. So when you're out there and you're just doing all the admin stuff and taking clients out and so on and so forth, and that's all you're doing, and you never have time to actually reevaluate your business, looking at what things are working, what things aren't working, you know, you can get in trouble, because if you're not doing that, nobody's doing that. You know, how are you supposed to grow if you're not continuously improving your processes and what you're doing? It's your business. You know, that's it. Nobody's going to do it for you. It's just up to you, you know? So that's what I'm saying. How are you going to grow and improve, you know? And this is something important. This goes for life in general, but it's a good thing about for your business. If you're not appreciating, you're depreciating, right? You are never, like, say your education level and how much you know about real estate and your experience in real estate, you know, it's never going to be frozen in time. Like you just stay at this level for years and years and years without learning more or anything like that. Because the thing is, if you're not learning, your competition is. So, you know, if you just keep things status quo and never change anything you do, there's other people that are going to learn to do things better and better and better, and then they're going to come and they're going to take your business. You know, so you always want to. That's why they talk about continuous improvement, investing in yourself. That's why, because if you're not appreciating, you're depreciating. Okay, time audit. I talked about reflection, right? So reflection is huge. A time audit is a good thing to do every once in a while. Some people that I know, very successful, do this every day in general. But what it is that every once in a while, take like a week or so and write down everything you do throughout the entire day. So, you know, you're making phone calls, write down phone call. You know, and you know, every time you jump to the email, look at that. You know, I mess around on Facebook, write it down. Be honest. It never helps to not be honest. You want real data, and just be honest, brutally honest with yourself. What you did throughout the day, how much time, and then you look at it over time, and then reevaluate. How productive was I being? Is there things that I see that I could improve? Was there things I was doing really well that I really like? You know. Another thing gives you time to look at value added, non-value added. Value added means that It's a service that your customer will actually pay for. Non-value added means something that your customer could care less that you do or not. Well, and trust me, sometimes you don't really realize that. But if you're doing things your customer could care less about, why not get rid of them? They'll save you time. You know? And constantly ask yourself, is this the best use of my time right now? You know, that's important. Is this helping me achieve my goals? And then, of course, the big thing, and this is Six Sigma's thing, right? And you probably hear it all over, but continuous improvement, always trying to improve, you know, push the results. Is that?
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Thank you.
That particular slide, you can change that to financial audit, you can change it to nutritional audit, you can change it to relationship audit, you can change it to anything.
Yep.
And get some results from it.
It's important to track. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I mean, it's constantly coming back, and like my wife and I actually did this recently. We're trying to figure out if we can, we rent a room out of our house just for extra money. And now we both work from home, so we need extra office space, right? So we're like, okay, can we do this? So we looked at our whole budget and had to be brutally honest. Can we afford it? How much money we spend this? I found that she spent $200 one month on a video game on her phone. Like, you know, one of those ones where it's like, you want to keep playing, pay $10, $200. I was like, oh my God, you only paid
Wow.
right? So you pay $200 for that video game? I was like, do you know you could buy like 7 video games?
Confidential.
Leave that out of the video.
Phone call telling you.
So, yeah, you know, oh, this goes to blocking out time for your calendar. So if you know, and I recently did this and it's helped for me. If you know that you're constantly putting off the most important things that you need to do in a day, then you need to go into your calendar and block time out for that every week and then actually do it, you know? And it has to be to the point where you're like, this is the time I'm doing this activity. And if somebody calls me, I'm not picking up. If I get an email, I'm just gonna have to call them afterwards. They can wait an hour. I mean, it's really, unless somebody's house is burning down, they could wait an hour. I mean, you know what I mean? Settlement, whatever it is. I mean, they probably could wait an hour, unless it's truly, truly great. And that's also another thing, the win by noon. This has become a very, very big concept. And the top people around the country, every one of them do this. And what win by noon means is it gets very hard for us all to get our marketing in, right? Because we get busy. Once you start getting really busy, you're busy with all your clients, you're trying to manage your clients, make sure that everything goes perfectly for them, so they write a good review about you, so on and so forth, so they refer you, blah, blah, blah. But what win by noon is get up early and get the marketing done first thing. And if you do that every day, you do at least an hour or so of marketing every morning before you pick up your email, before you start letting the phones ring and everything, you know that you got that out of the way. And then after that, you can just focus on the rest of the stuff, the rest of the day. But you know you did your marketing, and then that's going to keep your funnel full. So if you just do it first, get it done, and then you can focus on stuff afterwards, you know? And that helps, let me tell you, because I get into that trap, you know? You got 15 transactions and trust me, you're running around with your head cut off. You know? Okay, so analysis, and this kind of goes to what you were saying, right? So it's all about constant analysis, and you don't do this every day or anything. You might pick a time, maybe once every 2 months. You have a reflection analysis day on your business, whatever it is, but you want to really look at your business and kind of, you know, reevaluate, right? And so one of the biggest things that'll help you is keeping track of your results. And I have some spreadsheets that I'm going to send to you guys, and it can be very simple. And this helps for you when, you know, once you start having tons of prospects coming in, you need spreadsheets to keep track of them all, you know, because you have, you know, you got certain people that are buying a year from now, certain people are buying 6 months from now, certain people you're, you know, working on their credits, certain people ready to go right now, blah, blah, blah. They're all different stages. And the more they build up, you need something to keep track of. You're forget. I mean, you're going to forget unless you just like, you know, have what you call a memory card, photographic memory. But this will help you. And then it will let you start tracking things. How many, where, and you want to track, where did those prospects come from? Did that come from me doing open houses? Did that come from me working on my database? Did that come from the ad that I put out? Did that come from Zillow or something? Like whatever it is, you know, where did that deal come from? And then the more data that you can track on these things, and I know this sounds like a lot, but actually, trust me, when you start doing it, it's actually pretty easy, you know. Then you'll start seeing data and you'll see relationships, like, and then you can even track things on your clients. Was it a good relationship? Did I like that person? You know, were they in the right price point? You know, how much time did they spend? Were they super needy or was it just super easy? You know what I mean? Are they in the right target area? And when I say success rate, it's like, you know, if you get 6 leads from one thing and 6 leads from another, but one you close 3 transactions, one you close 0, I want to know that, right? Because obviously I want to do more of the one that I got 50% closed and less of the other one, you know, and even the other one that didn't. I'm not saying to get rid of those things. It's either reevaluate, see if there's something we could do better to make it productive, or get rid of it. I mean, it's one or the other, because if it's not producing, it's not producing. So it's good to track all that, and because it makes a world of difference. Because let me tell you, at the end of the year, you see it, you're gonna be like, wow, you know. And then that's when you're gonna see that 80-20. You're gonna be like, wow, I got half of my business from just my database. You know, the people I know. Well, how do I talk to my people I know more? You know. And so on. And then you might see one that you put so much time in and you got 1 transaction out of the whole year. And you're like, damn, I spent probably 200 hours and I got 1 transaction out of it. Are you going to continue to do that again? Because some people might, if you don't look at it, you don't know. You might just think, oh, I got deals out of that, you know? But did you look at how much time it took to get that 1 deal, you know? So then the next thing is reevaluate. So once you do that kind of analysis on yourself, and this goes even with, you know, time audit and all this other kind of stuff. Well, am I on track, you know, to achieve my goals? Are there things that are helping me to get there faster than others? What should I do more of? What should I do less? What should I eliminate? Are there better ways to do things? You know, what opportunities are there for me to be more productive? You know, again, what are top producers doing? Anything new? Everybody's constantly changing. So what are they doing? You know, constantly find out. I mean, that's one of the most simple things. If it's working for them, you should be doing it. Update your goals after you do this analysis. You know, update your action plan and get started again. And you know, that's really it. You start the whole process over. You know, what we're talking about. So that's it. That's what I got for you from this.
That was good.
Thank you.
Very good.
So I got a lot of stuff that we can go over to do this together. One thing I want to show you guys, which I think will be fun. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't think I have a. Could somebody do me a favor? Could you do me a favor? Or actually, let me. Yeah. I guess you, right. Take a piece of paper out. On the very top, just write down. Ways to improve my business, right? And then underneath it, I want you to write down 3 ideas that you have that you can improve your business, right? And then after that, I want you to pass it to the next person. I want them to write three ways that they think they can. Now you can read what the other people wrote. You can add to it. You can't write the same thing. You can add something additional that might be something new, but I want you to write three things. And what's going to happen is we're going to have to go around the whole room, and I will type that out and send it to you all, but you're going to be amazed by what you see. And it really shows you the power of brainstorming together with other people and seeing different people's perspectives on things like that. And this works for anything that you want to do. It's a very simple strategy, but it works.
So are we thinking about like SMART goals, or are we just throwing anything out there that comes to mind?
Whatever, I mean, thing that you might do to improve your business, something that you might do to try to get more business, whatever you think, but something that you want to do that to help improve your business. Yeah.
Now I feel like I'm a whole tab forever thinking about it. Okay, so.
And let me see. So I'm going to send everybody a spreadsheet of this too. And actually, while she's doing this, I want everybody to start on this one, actually. So what I want you to do is I want everybody to just start and write everything that you're going to do tomorrow. Every task that you want to get done tomorrow, doesn't, for work and stuff, or what you know that needs to get done, and write it all down. And then after that, I want you to rank. You're going to have two sides, importancy and urgency, and rank each one being it's not important to 5 being the most important. Same thing with urgent. 1 not being urgent at all, 5 being the most urgent. And then after that, you're gonna put them in order of what should be done first. What do you think the absolute most important thing is? What's the next one? What's the next one after that? All the way down. So I wanted you guys to show so nice. Yeah, together. So it's cool to help them. It's kind of cool. Camera shot. This is a light that they can hook up so that they can take videos of themselves with their phone. Okay. Yeah, something they went over the other day. Yeah. So, step up great. So I just figured I grab one. I was like, I'm not sure. Yeah, so that you can see it out. Yes, what they give out. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is great. I'm excited about it. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Yes, it's just-
What is one right here?
All done?
Oh, yes. Yes. The good thing is that as you do this, so you constantly- it just makes you feel good. And the nice thing is once you start doing like Excel, things you don't have time to see. Might be over. Well, staring at your car. You gotta do this. It is a little bit, but it was a long way. Oh, no problem. Yeah, I hope it works out. I think. Good stuff.
I was.
Yeah.
All of us get caught into this, and it just kind of brings us back. Yeah. And even the back of the tasks, you know, really I'm planning to do something like that. Staring back at you. The next day you do this. So that. Yeah, it's still happening.
Oh, yeah. But, we have a couple or not. That was one of those guys. But everything I Google Docs, everyone told me to live there, and then I can prioritize.
I love Google Docs. And Google Docs is great. You know, you can actually, I don't have it.
Okay.
Find it, I write it.
Okay.
But you can, let's say, share that, and it's like a,
Right.
anytime you get it,
Right, yes. I remember that. Okay.
so it's. a little
Now
easier.
that,
I like
and
my Google Docs.
urgency is right. And it's urgency, I got to figure out if exactly looked at, I'm pretty sure I can. Place. Like it looked like you were going down.
Yeah.
The metal.
Oh, it's the same thing. I get to check. See where it says data, the data tab.
Yeah.
At the very top, click on that,
Okay.
and then there's a button that says.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
I don't know.
I only have one.
part of it, you know, like having a part-time job, you know, is a career direction on how you kind of. And you might like that idea of blocking out. That's the way I look at it. And surprising. I don't know how to do it, but I know a lot of people that have two jobs, still there is some of both. Right. It's hard. But it's, yeah.
Right.
Of course, you might get to the point where
That's my goal.
Yeah, that's the echo. How would you have it? Did it make sense about how to organize?
Yeah, I have a planner. I'm trying to use it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I use the quick planner. They work better.
One thing I will tell you. It's really worse. When it comes to this kind of stuff, focus on one thing. Like just try to start doing this, you know, and get a hang of that. And then, you know, once you get a hang of that, then you can go back and say, you know what, I'm gonna try this other one. Yeah. Because when you try to do everything at once, then it gets overwhelming and that stuff is gonna get all. I'm too overwhelmed, I can't follow it.
I get class minutes up right now.
Yeah, just focus on one thing. Yeah. This is just our. Oh, sure. Oh, I love texting. Yeah, texting is great. I love texting. Everything good for you?
Yeah, my main questions would be importancy and urgency and weighing the, basically when I was doing it, it was hard to
Determine.
determine what is the most important here, like this is all important.
Oh, of course.
You know,
A lot of people struggle with that, and that's why I think the dollar sign helps too. What things are making you money, what things aren't.
so when you do yours and you have, so in my day, there are a lot of personal things and work things that are simultaneously in the mix by the day. So a lot of things aren't really $50 there. Essential.
Oh, of course.
Keeping people alive.
Sure.
So, yeah, I mean, I think some of that plays into thinking about like, yeah, where do I go with it? Do you have very separate, like, this is just my work day? When you do it for yourself, work day versus like.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really use the calendars, because if I have personal things I really have to do, I just put it in the calendar and I block it out. So I know that it's blocked out for my personal stuff, and I'm not gonna schedule anything else.
Yeah.
That helps me really distinguish. When you kind of have that kind of thing, sometimes that can be easier to get your kids and stuff, or, you know, that can be hard. Yeah.
Because it's really
Getting
getting
up earlier
into.
sometimes. Yeah, because like it's either one or the other, getting up earlier, or are you married? So working out with your husband, you know, it's like, hey, I need to work on my business at a certain time. This, can you watch him like every day from this time to this time, so I can focus on this, you know? And but you do have to obviously schedule around the. So
Because I went in there.
you just kind of want to schedule. Those things are important and urgent too. Your kids are important, most of them. So, but you also don't want to be like, okay, I'm only gonna do kids, not my business, because then why? So it's kind of like making sure you're getting the most important things done with your kids, so you're not like kids, but then how can I squeeze in those other things for my business? Yeah. And then it just, it's hard, you know, it's hard. So, but I can tell you, look at, one of my top producing agents, this year, I think she's gonna do 25 million. She has 3 kids. They're all one's 2, one's 6, one's 9, one's autistic. And she does homeschool, she takes them out, and she still does 25 on it. She's a freaking super mom, but.
I would love to talk with her.
Oh, yeah, I'll give her a number. You know.
I texted you my contact, I do the, take that and send you, my information if she's open to talking.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure she'd probably be flattered. Most people are, you know, and when you go to people that are a lot more successful and ask them to learn from themselves,
Yeah.
most people are flattered. You know, because they're proud of their success.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're asking, makes them feel good about
Yeah.
themselves. You know, so.
Yeah, well, I would love to.
Well, her name is Melissa Barnes, and if you would, just text me later and say, hey, could you do that introduction for Melissa? That way I'll remember. Yeah. She's she does Hartford County. Yeah, she works with Cummins and Co. It's a little bit smaller of a company, but yeah, she likes it. But yeah, she's always.
That's very inspiring. That's basically what I'm always looking for, is like, who's a mama that's doing.
I will tell you what she does to be so successful. It makes her a lot of money. She is all about social media. And what she does is just has the blast with her kids, takes pictures of it all, shares it on social networking of all the stuff that she's doing to have fun with the kids. It makes her relate to other families. And they see, also she books all the houses she's on, stuff like that. But the majority of her stuff is stuff with her and her family. And it makes you really relatable to other people, and they see that kind of stuff, and people like working with people that you know, and when they see you're a hardworking mom, and you're out there doing your thing in business too, they're like, I would like to help that person, you know? So, it's a good way. And you can always bring your kids along sometimes. I know they might not want to, but
Yeah.
sometimes they might have to come see a showing. As long as it's not like a creepy environment or something. You know?
So how's everybody doing it with this? Does everybody feel pretty good on it? Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, you have a question?
No, I kind of understand, like she asked about how do you define which one is important right now?
Every